Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janvalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Vishwa Paramahamsa Privadicharya Shuddha Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtatra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Pramanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. What's the verse we reading? Doing 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, text number 19. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Loka Veda Pathanuga. Loka Veda Pathanuga. Kaman Shishe Vedvarvatyam. Kaman Shishe Vedvaryatyam. Ashakta Sankhya Mastita. Ashakta Sankhya Mastita. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Loka Veda Padhanuga. Kaman Shishe Vidvarvatyam. Ashakta Sankhya Mastita. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Loka Veda Pathanuga. Kaman Shishe Vidvarvatyam. Asankhya Masmatita. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Loka Veda Pathanuga. Kama Chishe Vidvarvatyam. Asakta Sankhya Mastita. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Bhagavan api Vishvatma. Loka Veda Pathanuga. Kama Chishe Vidvarvatyam. Asakta Sankhya Mastita. Please repeat word for word. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Api, also. Vishva Atma, the super soul of the universe. Loka, customary. Veda, Vedic principles, Pathanuga, follower of the path, Kaman, the necessities of life, Shisheve, enjoyed, Dvarvatyam, in the city of Dwarka, Asakta, without being attached, Sankyam, knowledge in the Sankhya philosophy, Astita, being situated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Simultaneously, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwarka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. Purport. While Maharaj Yudhishthira was the emperor of the earth, Lord Sri Krishna was the king of Dwarka and was known as Dwarkadhish. Like other subordinate kings, he was under the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthira. Although Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme emperor of the entire creation, while he was on this earth, he never violated the principles of the Vedic injunctions because they are the guide for human life. Regulated human life according to the Vedic principles, which are based on the system of knowledge called Sankhya philosophy, is the real way of enjoyment of the necessities of life. Without such knowledge, detachment and custom, the so-called human civilization is no more than an animal society of eat, drink, be merry and enjoy. The Lord was acting freely as He willed, yet by His practical example, He taught not to lead a life which goes against the principles of detachment and knowledge. Attainment of knowledge and detachment, as very elaborately discussed in Sankhya philosophy, is the real perfection of life. Knowledge means to know that the mission of the human form of life is to end all the miseries of material existence, and that in spite of having to fulfill the bodily necessities in a regulated way. One must be detached from such animal life. Fulfilling the demands of the body is animal life, and fulfilling the mission of the spirit soul is the human mission. Om Jnanatimindasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you for coming for the Bhagavatam class on Tuesday morning. It's nice to be here, be able to glorify and speak something about Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a very beautiful chapter. Uddhava is gone in transcendental ecstasy and he's describing the Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan, which are very beautiful pastimes. We know the pastimes of Lord in Vrindavan are very sacred and very beautiful. But it's Krishna. Whatever he does is amazing and beautiful. So even his pastimes out of Vrindavan are very beautiful. If we read Krishna book or we read the 10th canto, all these pastimes are very beautifully described and translated by Srila Prabhupada. So there was a reason why Prabhupada gave us Krishna book, Like the 10th canto is like the lotus face of Krishna. It's said when you read Bhagavatam, we have to read it in the right order. Go from first canto to second to third to fourth and then go until the 10th canto, which is like going from the lotus feet to the body of Krishna, to the face, lotus face at the end. So we should follow that order when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, because otherwise if we go straight to the 10th canto, we might just, get confused and we might just not understand the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam if we miss out the first 9 cantos and go straight to the 10th canto. But Prabhupada, he was 80 years, 70 years old, and he realized that, time is very uncertain. I have to give people the knowledge of Krishna, so he wrote Krishna book. That's why Krishna book is very dear to the devotees, because Prabhupada translated the whole 10th canto into Krishna book, and with the pastimes and philosophy combined together. Just by reading Krishna book, one can understand the whole philosophy, Prabhupada says, I've given this Krishna book for devotees just for sense gratification. If you want to enjoy your senses, go read Krishna book, because then you can relish all the pastimes of Krishna. Because that's what beautifully described pastimes of Krishna are in Krishna book. So, if you have not read Krishna book, I would highly recommend reading Krishna book, You can read it side by side while reading Bhagavatam also. So it's very beautiful. And especially this verse, so Lord Krishna has established Yudhishthira Maharaj as the emperor of the world, and he has put him on the throne, and now he's ruling the kingdom. And imagine Lord Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead himself, and he's coming and making you the king. How would you feel? Krishna comes to you and says, I'm going to make you the king of the world. And because you're a great devotee of Krishna, that Krishna is the real king, No matter how many thrones you sit on, you still are under the control of the Supreme Lord. Yudhishthira Maharaj knows that too. It's an amazing situation, for a devotee. Because that's what Krishna does, he's, as the purport mentions, he was situated in detachment and knowledge. Detachment. That's the real word, Like Krishna is the supreme king. So he's detached, I don't want anything for myself. So he's giving everything to the devotees. So he's setting up Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is a greatest and the greatest of all kings, He's like he himself is the son of Yamaraj, He's like the most pious and the most strong-willed person. A great potential or great attributes for a king to have is to be honest, be caring for others and everything. All these great qualities that a king must have is in Yudhishthira Maharaj. So that's why Lord Krishna is giving an example what a king should be like. So it beautifully mentions that in Krishna himself, when he was living in Dwarka, he's called Dwarkadish. Is one of the first hubs or the main centers of ISKCON that Prabhupada founded, Sri Rukmini Dwarkadish in LA. So that's where Prabhupada gave name instead of Radha Krishna. Prabhupada gave name Rukmini Dwarkadish in LA. So, because LA is quite opulent city. Yeah, and Dwarkadish, the emperor of Dwarka. Dwarka is also very opulent city. So we'll just go do a little study of how Dwarka was established by Lord Krishna. When you read Krishna book or 10th canto, you'll read beautiful story of how Krishna sets up the city of Dwarka. It's chapter number 50. You can read it. It's very beautiful pastime. How, what was it? Jarasandha? It was Jarasandha. So after Krishna killing Kamsa, Krishna has killed Kamsa, and two of Kamsa's wives are sisters or daughters of Jarasandha. Do you remember, Ishwar? Were they sisters of Jarasandha or the daughters of Jarasandha? Daughters? So I think it was daughters of Jarasandha, two of Kamsa's wife, went to his father or brother, I'm not sure, we'll have to check that. So he went to Jarasandha and told Jarasandha, look, Krishna has killed my husband, our husband, and Jarasandha, being a great person taking care of their daughters or sisters, he decided that, this is the baddest thing someone has ever done. I'm going to destroy this person. Because Jarasandha was already a demoniac person, so he was already envious of Krishna. So, sometimes it happens to us. If someone, says something to our family, we would get angry, we would get aggressive. How did this person say something to my family? Just by saying, we get super angry. Imagine Krishna killed. So Jarasandha was super disturbed, he was like super going mental, losing his mind. So then Jarasandha decided that I'm going to attack Dwarka. And what did Jarasandha did? He gathered all his army, like all his 30 million people or something in his army. He gathered like this big army and then went to Dwarka to attack Krishna. And Krishna knew, right? Because he's super soul. He knows what's going on in the world. He's so fully aware. But he's not too worried because he knows. That's the purpose of Krishna coming to the world. See, that's Krishna's big plan, master plan, you can call it. Like Krishna came, why does Krishna appear on earth? It's to destroy the demons and save the devotees, So Krishna was doing that. He's like, I don't have to go running around hunting demons. Everyone's just coming to me. So I'll just keep coming and I'll keep destroying. So that was Krishna's great plan, So we can do that sometimes, If we have enemies, just do something so enemies come to you and you can destroy them. Well, it's not recommended. You should be forgiving rather than destroying nature. So Krishna, all these demons of Jarasanda's assembly have been attacking Mathura, because Krishna is residing in Mathura at that time, and then Balaram and Krishna decided, all right, we see an enemy coming, we see this army of Jarasandha coming to attack us. So they both picked up the weapons. And when Baladev and Krishna picks up the weapons, they don't even need any army, because they can just slay. You don't even need Krishna. He just Baladev himself is so strong, he can just lay down the whole armies himself. But both of them picked up the weapon and they just destroyed. The battle was won in like no time. Krishna just killed like so many demons. But Jarasandha is still in revenge mode, So after having lost so many soldiers, an intelligent person would think, oh, maybe I cannot defeat him. Maybe I should. But he's a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya does not, give up that easy. So we want to come back. So what did Jarasandha do? After a few days or few weeks, he gathered another army and then attacked Krishna again. Second time. And then Krishna said, all right, well, that's perfect. My plan is working. All the demons are coming to me. So I'll just kill them right away. So then the second time, Jarasandha attacked. And then what did Krishna do? Picked up his weapons and slayed the whole army. Second time. Then Jarasandha like, no, he did it again. Oh my God, I got to do it again. So then he left. What did he do? He brought another army the third time to attack Mathura. So he kept on doing that 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. He went all the way until 17th time. 17th or 18th? 18th. 17th was the last one, when 18th was Krishna got defeated. 17 times Krishna defeated Jarasandha. And now Jarasandha, after being defeated, you can't imagine how many soldiers destroyed in one army. 17 times, it's like it's number you can't calculate. We hear like in Kali Yuga, these great wars that have existed, World War I, World War II, like millions and millions number of soldiers were defeated and destroyed from either sides, So imagine 17 times this big army of 17 times has been defeated. But Jarasandha is like, I am going to defeat him. That's my goal of my life, So if we get defeated 17 times, like if you're like, if you have a cricket team or something, or like a baseball team or basketball team, if they get defeated 17 times in a row, the motivation and the enthusiasm to fight is gone. There's 17, I know, that's the loss. So, but Jarasandha is still motivated to defeat Krishna, because that's his rasta with Krishna, because he's a demon. A demon wants to fight the Supreme Lord. So he's going 18 times, this time I'm going to defeat Krishna. And Krishna appreciates that, He's like, oh, this guy is so sincerely dedicated to defeating me. Maybe I will fulfill his desire, because Krishna, as we know, fulfills all desires in a way that we don't ask for it again, right? So that's what Jarasandha's desire was. So Krishna's like, all right, we'll arrange something, And situation happens that there was another person named Kalayavana who was sent by Narada, because Kalayavana was a great Kshatriya, he was a great fighter, and he was looking to fight. I want the most capable person in the world to fight. So what he did, he went to Narada Muni. That's the wrong person to go to. If you're a demon of Krishna, that's the wrong person to go to a great devotee. So he went to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni said, oh, you should fight the Yavanas. They are the strongest in the whole world. Nobody can defeat the Yavanas. So you should go fight Yavanas. Oh, Yadus, sorry, the Yadus. You should fight the Yadus, and Yadus are like the most strongest at the moment. So you should go fight them. And Narada Muni Sen and Kala Yavana is like, all right, I'll go fight the Yadus and kill all the Yadu dynasty. And Kala Yavana goes. Now he's got his another army. So imagine there's Jarasandha with his army, and then there's Kala Yavana with his massive, his army is like 3 times the size of Jarasandha's army. So there's a lot of armies going to attack the Yadus in Mathura. And now Krishna is using his intelligence, because as Prabhupada says that he was situated in detachment and knowledge. So knowledge is very important. This is Sankhya philosophy knowledge, but that's also knowledge. Because now Krishna is thinking, there's so many demons coming to attack me, even though they can't attack me, but I need to take care of all the citizens in my family, in my kingdom. So what he does, he said, Mathura is being attacked from all the sides. So we need to do something. What did Krishna does? He said, we'll make another city and transport everyone to the other city called Dwarka. And Krishna had this discussion with his associates, and they came up. Krishna decided that I'll just set up a new city. And everyone's like, what? Setting up a city is like making halwa? You can't just do it right away. It takes time, it takes energy. It takes so much determination, so much efforts to set up a new city. And we are being attacked on both sides, from all the sides. How can we set up a new city that quickly? And Krishna like, don't worry, I got it covered. Krishna calls, who does he call? What's the name? Yeah. So there's this person who can create big cities. He's spiritual. He creates spiritual cities. He's like the designer of the city of Indraloka. So he's like very, very celestial person. So Krishna calls him and tells him, please design me a city. And he's like, yes sir, no problem. And next thing you know, there is a big city called Dwarka. In what? Few seconds, few minutes, there's a city right there. And if Krishna doesn't even get everyone to move, he just transports everyone to Dwarka. So everyone, next thing, they open their eyes and they realize they're in Dwarka. And he's like, wow, what's amazing? We just entered a new city. Imagine if you can travel like that. You close your eyes, next thing you open, you're in Brisbane or something. You just go like, whoa, what's happened here? So that's the glories of Krishna, Even though Krishna is performing these pastimes to create an example, he will still show that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, So he always gives those signs. So that's where we should look. If you go around, and there'll be many times there'll be people claiming, I am God, I am an incarnation of God. You can just ask them, even if you're God, can you do something like that? Can you, when you were 5-year-old, did you lift Govardhan hill for 7 days without flinching? Can you do that for even 1 second? What to speak of 7 days? You can ask them these questions. Can you do this? Can you just transport everyone to a new city of Dwarka? No, they can't. Nobody can. Only Krishna can. That's why Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what Bhagavatam is teaching us, So that's how Dwarka got established, and everyone's moved to Dwarka. I won't go on the full pastime of how Jarasandha was killed. So Jarasandha was killed, and then Kala Yavana was destroyed by Muchukunda. So there's a whole pastime, we can read that. So this is what the beautiful pastime, and Prabhupada in this purport is mentioning that Krishna is the follower. He sets up these principles, and he himself is following these principles. We all know that Krishna doesn't need to follow these principles, because he's completely happy and spiritual and Sachidananda. He has no need, he's not looking for liberation. We are looking for liberation. Krishna is already giving liberation. He's the giver of liberation, not asker of liberation, so that's what we should know. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter, 3.21, you reading the 3rd chapter? As I recall, you recently stated. So Karma Yoga, Krishna himself mentioned, Yad yadacharati shreshtas tatta devattaro jana sayat pramanam kurute lokas tad anuvartate. What does that mean? It means that whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets to exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So Krishna himself is stating that. So if Krishna has said something, it has to be true. because it's coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what Krishna is demonstrating by his actions. So we know there's another beautiful, beautiful chapter in Krishna book. Was the chapter number 70. It's Krishna's daily activities. It's a very beautiful chapter also, where Krishna is doing, imagine reading about the daily activities of Krishna. What does Krishna does daily? It's amazing. So what does Krishna do daily? So as soon as we just go through that chapter, right? It's one of our beautiful chapters. So every morning, as the sun is about to come up during the dawn, Krishna is sleeping with all his wives in Dwarka. 16,000 wives, 16,000 wives. And he's situated with every wife separately, So amazing, eh? That you can ask someone who claims to be God, Can you do that? Be it with 16,000 wives at the same time. You can't even handle one wife, but to speak of 16,000 wives. So that's what Krishna does. And it's amazing how Bhagavatam describes, Shukadev Goswami describes that the ladies, when they wake up, when they hear the roosters, they're getting upset because these roosters are disturbing because they're waking up and they're thinking that Krishna is going to wake up, and when Krishna wakes up, he's going to leave us and he's going to go to his, performing his daily activities. He's going to the kingdom and run the kingdom, and he will be separated from us. So imagine waking up with that consciousness, that Krishna is going to be separated, because all our movement, all our foundation is based on separation, love of separation, right? So imagine just waking up with that mentality. Oh no, Krishna is going to go. But we don't think like that, because we are neophyte devotees. And the great devotees who are, all the wives of Krishna are like great devotees of Krishna. And that's what they're thinking, Imagine waking up and thinking, as soon as you open your eyes, oh no, I can hear the roosters, now Krishna is going to go. That's the first level of Krishna consciousness you feel right away, the feeling of separation. So this is like very beautifully described. It's amazing how you start your day. I'm not with Krishna, and Krishna is going to go. So they take that little moment they have with Krishna very smartly and very wisely, try to use it to the fullest. Hold Krishna tight that he can't go, but Krishna wakes up, and what does Krishna do when he wakes up? He's telling us, he's teaching us by his activities. Does anyone know? What does Krishna do the first thing he wakes up? He cleans himself with clean water, takes a bath, take a shower, suchify yourself. That's the word we use in ISKCON. We tell people, suchify, just get pure. Just leave all the contaminations and try to stay pure. So that's the first thing we should do. We have had a long sleep. We've become muchi now. Just go take a shower, take a bath, clean your teeth, do this. And that's the first thing we learn as our training progresses when we wake up at 4 a.m. Oh, Krishna also wakes up at 4 a.m. So that's why we wake up, because he's waking up super early, and then he cleans himself. And what does he do after cleaning himself? He meditates. He chants his Gayatri, and he meditates upon himself. Now, there's another beautiful point that the Acharyas have explained that we should not confuse. Most people do confuse. When we say Krishna meditates upon himself, doesn't mean it's a sign that we should meditate upon ourselves. That's not smart thing to do. Krishna is doing that because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no one greater than Krishna. So he can't meditate upon anyone greater than him, because there's nobody. So he meditates upon himself. But everyone is greater than us. That's what we should think. So we should meditate on Krishna, because he is the Supreme Controller and the Supreme Lord. So that's what Krishna does. He meditates every day. So we should also learn from Krishna's activities. Many times we hear these stories that people question Krishna's activities. Krishna's done this, he's like this forest god of enjoying with all these women, all these things people concoct, and then they go around telling that look what Krishna is doing, he's like this, like that. But he also meditates. Why don't you look at the good things that Krishna is doing that you can actually conceive? Because Krishna's activities, most of the activities we can't conceive. But some activities like Krishna's meditating, we can conceive that, right? With our little mind and little mentality and little vision. So we hear that Krishna is meditating, so we should also meditate. And that's what Prabhupada has set up the morning program like that, in such a way, from 4 a.m. till 9 a.m. You meditate, you do your japa, you attend, you glorify Krishna through Mangal Arati, wake up during Mangal Arati time. Mangal means very auspicious time of the day to do your spiritual practice, your sadhana. So you should involve yourself, engage daily in that activity. I've been engaging for about 4 years now, and I can feel the difference, Now I just automatically wake up every morning at 4 a.m. Well, because if you live in the temple, you wake up from the sound. You have to wake up from the sound. So that's easy, living in the temple makes it easier to wake up every morning. Sometimes it's difficult, but we try our best. And, because by waking up in the morning and performing your sadhana gives you a very beautiful, situates you in a very beautiful place throughout the day. And, you feel very blessed and very energized to perform your spiritual practice. So it's very strong. That's what Krishna is doing. He's waking up every morning, doing his meditation, and then he does what a king should do, because that's what Krishna is. Dwarkadish, he's the king of Dwarka. So he has to perform king activities also. What is Krishna doing? He's giving charity. He gives like thousands of cows in charity every day to all the people who need, decorated with ornaments and like expensive jewelry, all these things Krishna is doing, performing these activities. Then he decorates himself, he nicely get dressed, and now he's about to go to his daily activities, to perform his activities in the palace. So where all the associates will be gathered and they'll discuss the matters of the day and how to be done to run a kingdom. So that's what Krishna is doing. So we should learn that every morning we should do our sadhana and then do our seva. Because that's what we should revolve our life, Some people may say that I don't live at the temple, so it's hard to do seva. Seva doesn't only mean you have to come to the temple to do seva, which is, yes, you can come to the temple and do seva directly to Krishna. That's very beautiful. But you can also engage seva from your heart throughout the day by thinking about Krishna, Or if you're working, use that work in Krishna's service, If you get whatever you get, results of that work, use it in Krishna's service. That's also seva. So we should just do that. We should just do that. So this is very important. So we should engage ourselves daily in that activity. So we should remember that and not get distracted and disturbed. So that's another beautiful chapter we can read if you ever get time. Please, I'll encourage everyone to read Krishna book. It's a very beautiful book. It's one of my favorite books. And there's another one. Another example is of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya himself, when he appeared to establish the principles as Krishna himself comes all the time. And at that time the need was of sannyasi. Because Lord Chaitanya is great sannyasi himself. And all his associates, he would follow these principles of Vedic injunction, not associate with women, single women, we should not associate too much, because otherwise it'll distract you from your spiritual life. For a brahmachari, of course. For a grihastha, yeah, you can. But when you're in the brahmachari or student life, it's recommended to focus on spiritual practice. And for a sannyasi, it's even, definitely not recommended to associate around women, because there's always signs of falling down. Then that's what happened. What happened? Lord Chaitanya is very dear associate, a great kirtan singer, who Lord Chaitanya liked. What's his name? Chota Haridas. He's a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who was also in the spiritual order of life. And what did he do? One day, by one little thing, he just associated or just thought by looking at a woman lustfully. And when Lord Chaitanya found out, he gave up his association. He said, that's it. For a person who has done this dangerous activity, cannot be part of me. We're not going to associate. I'm not going to associate with that person. And when a devotee finds that out, he gets very disturbed. And what did Lord Chota Haridas do? He committed suicide. Because to go away from this, because he has committed a great offensive act. So the only way to cure it is to commit suicide, because he couldn't think of anything else, even though Lord Chaitanya did forgive him. But so this is what we need to learn, that Krishna is doing. He doesn't have to do all these activities. Krishna is self-satisfied. He doesn't need to perform Vedic injunctions, but the Vedic injunctions have been set up so that we can advance and become closer to Krishna. We are Raganugas, Rupanugas. We're Rupanugas. Sorry, it's just been a bit long day. Rupanugas means we are followers of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is a great leader in our sampradaya, in our tradition, and we should follow in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has given us this beautiful book, small, it's like a small bomb, like a little bomb with the biggest damage, so it's like the greatest asset for a follower of the acharyas. So we should remember that. We should read these books by the acharyas. Prabhupada has given us unlimited amount of books from our mentality. If you start reading these books, it'll take you a long time to finish them up. There's so many of them. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, you name it. There's so many books. And you can keep reading these books over and over again. And keep reading, get more realization over and over again. So this is what I was thinking today. Would be good to discuss. It's almost time. If there's any questions, comments, corrections. Yes, Prabhu.
Like you said, that Krishna, that we should get up in the morning, we should do what our master does, to bathe early, to clean yourself up and then meditate. As he said that Krishna cannot meditate anything superior than himself, so he used to meditate on himself. But I have also heard that Krishna meditates on the devotees. So how it's relevant that Krishna meditates on himself and not on the devotees?
Well, Krishna he can meditate on the devotees, because, for example, Krishna is known as Madana Mohan. That means Srimati Radharani, who is, because Krishna's devotees are more dear to him. There's nothing more dear to Krishna than his devotees. See, this is like a bit of a thing to understand, that Krishna is the supreme God. He's the supreme Lord, but he's also the servant of his devotees. The devotees think I'm the servant of the supreme Lord, and the supreme Lord is thinking I'm the servant of my devotees. So this is what we should understand. For a devotee, for a pure devotee of Krishna, we would not accept Krishna in our service. We want to be the servants of Krishna. Like, for example, the story of Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is the greatest. He's Krishna himself in one way, and he's the greatest servant of Lord Chaitanya. But Lord Chaitanya treats him with so much respect and honor that Advaita Acharya is bewildered. He's like, I just can't take it. I have to do something just to get chastised from Krishna. Like how would you treat a servant? That's what I need to do. So what did Advaita Acharya does? He preaches Mayavad philosophy, and Lord Chaitanya is like, what is Advaita doing? He's preaching Mayavad philosophy, even though he knows. It's like that's his leela. He knows he's just doing it for one particular reason, but he's trying to demonstrate a point. And the point he's trying to make is a devotee just serves Krishna. Lord Chaitanya chastises Advaita Acharya, and Advaita Acharya is in ecstasy. I have finally accomplished my mission. I finally got chastised. Finally, Lord Chaitanya treated me like a servant. And Lord Chaitanya is like, he strict me. So this is a beautiful pastime. So we should know that for a devotee, we should not, the only job we have is to meditate on Krishna. We can't force Krishna to meditate on anyone. Krishna can do whatever he likes, Krishna loves his devotees very much, so he may think about, but the acharyas do explain in that particular chapter, or the point is that he meditates upon himself. So we just follow what acharyas say. I haven't read that the acharyas say he's meditating on the devotees. Have you read somewhere? Acharyas explain that. Based on what I have read, maybe true, maybe not, I don't know. But what I have read is that Krishna is meditating on himself. Have you read he's meditating on the devotees? So.
I think it's kind of like in that pastime he demonstrated like those people in the
yeah. Yeah, Krishna's always thinking of his devotees. Yeah. Even non-devotees, Krishna can think about it if he wants to. So Krishna,
about everyone.
yeah. But Krishna doesn't focus on devotees, because why would you think about someone who's not thinking about you? You know what I mean? So Krishna is personal also, he's not impersonal. So at the same time, Krishna can think about everyone. He is thinking about, he's situated as Paramatma in the heart of everyone, so he knows everything. But he's focused, especially with the devotees, because devotees are focused on him. So he's focused on the devotees. So does it make sense? Yeah. So I haven't read in that particular. The whole point of the Acharya is mentioning that we should meditate on Krishna, and Krishna is meditating on himself, is so that we don't start meditating on other devotees, or like meditating on how good is she looking or how handsome is he looking. That's not the point. The point is to meditate on Krishna. I guess that's why it's mentioned that we should meditate on Krishna. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anything else? Would you?
You mentioned about how Lord Chaitanya acted disturbed by one of his devotees.
Yeah. Oh, he wasn't disturbed. He wouldn't, as a duty of a sannyasi is to not accept anything that is not in the sannyas order of life. Yeah.
So sometimes, I'm associating with the devotees, of course, nobody is perfect. So sometimes some of their actions, sort of disturb.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, it's very good question, because this is what we often experience. No one's perfect, Like the example I got from a very senior devotee when I asked him that same question when I was new, exactly the same question I asked him. Like, we can see there's been fall downs even in ISKCON. Even Prabhupada's disciples have fallen down, without the association, because it's Kali Yuga, it's a very dangerous place to practice spiritual life. But it's only possible when we are associating with the right people. Sometimes we may see faults in other people, but we shouldn't focus on the faults, because we are also full of faults. If everyone just focuses on the faults, I live with this person, if I just every day tell him, that's your fault, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, and what will he do? If someone's finding fault in you, the next thing you do is going to find fault in that person. Oh, you're doing this wrong too, you're doing this wrong too. So then how are you going to spread this movement? How are you going to associate with devotees if that's what we're going to focus on? So, as a beginner, we should, even in an advanced stage, we shouldn't judge other people's motivation. We should only judge our motivation, because we know, you will come across many devotees who are very serious too, who are like, by looking at those devotees, we can see that is the platform I want to be at. There will be sometimes there will be, because we are all trying to become a better person, because we all come from a society that has trained us in all the negative qualities, so leaving those negative qualities and cultivating the right qualities. Like, for example, society is filled with killers and rapists and all these horrendous activities people have performed, but Prabhupada's mercy is that we bring everyone, we welcome everyone to come and chant Hare Krishna, take prasad and perform these beautiful activities. But with all this disturbance, sometimes mistakes can happen. So that doesn't mean we judge a person. Like Rupa Goswami has said, one should not judge another devotee's motivation. So we just try to do that. Just focus on our spiritual practice and just take shelter of the right kind of audience, the right kind of people. If we see someone, oh look, this person is situated very nicely, he's finding too much faults, and we should associate with senior devotees, because they always, and this is about guidance also. So if you're having trouble with associating with someone, or if you think this person is not, practicing like this, he's doing something wrong, we shouldn't just go on if we don't have the authority. So we should go to the authority and tell her, this is what I feel, and the authority will be able to handle it in a better way. Does that answer your question?
Not exactly. The thing is that I'm not getting their motivation. So it's actually disturbing sort of my spiritual practice, what I think is sort of creates some sort of confusion.
Wait, so you're saying your spiritual practice is being disturbed by associating with who?
Not by associating with, but some of their actions, it's sort of confusing or disturbing.
Yeah, don't need to get confused. We just chant Hare Krishna. Krishna will help us, for our, because see, we come from a platform, we come from a stage where our mind will always find fault. That's the nature of the mind, is to find faults in others. That's the first thing you will do. And in the training process of bhakti, that's the first thing you do, is to stop listening to your mind. That's the first thing, because the mind is full of fault itself, So that's the first thing we do, is stop listening to the mind. If mind is telling me this person is doing something wrong, we should tell the mind, hey, you're doing something wrong, finding a fault in that person. What goal do you have? Like, what's your authority to find a fault in some other person? I don't even know why he's doing that, But we can still make judgments and ideas in our head. Why is this person doing like that? So I would suggest you speak to someone senior, If you're having troubles, if you're having difficulties, just focus on your spiritual practice. If you think that this person is not highly situated for you, that will help you in spiritual advancement, you can speak to a senior devotee and find a solution to that. I'm not that qualified to guide you in your spiritual practice, but yeah, as suggested in the Vedas and the Shastras, is look for guidance. Bhakti is guidance movement. Don't ever think that I can solve this problem myself, because it will be very difficult. So if you're having a trouble, having a difficulty, speak to someone who's like on a senior stage, like on a higher platform, who has the power of authority, so they can help you understand. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you. So we'll just stop here, quite over time. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.
Yeah.